Welcome to today's Explainer. We're jumping right into part 23 of our Ultimate Wealth Masterclass. And today we're exploring a massive leap that pretty much every entrepreneur dreams of, but very few actually achieve. Up until now, you've probably conquered high-ticket offer design, you've automated your onboarding, and you've built a predictable, highly profitable cash flow engine. Basically, you've got a wildly successful seven-figure business. But here is where things get really fascinating. Transitioning from a seven-figure business to an automated eight-figure empire, that requires a completely different structural foundation. Today, we aren't just talking about scaling a business, we are exploring the ultimate frontier of financial sovereignty. We're talking about engineering a multi-generational legacy that is designed to survive for centuries.
Okay, let's dive into this with a really critical question. Why is it that so many successful seven-figure businesses just completely fail to reach eight? You see this all the time, right? Incredible, talented operators who just stall out right when things seem to be going perfectly. Well, the source material reveals that it's almost never a lack of marketing skill or product quality that holds them back. Instead, they hit a completely new tier of operational resistance. So what exactly is this invisible ceiling? Let's take a look at the blueprint we're going to use to shatter it.
Here is our masterclass blueprint for today. We're going to cover 5 core areas. 1. The complexity trap. 2. Infrastructure decoupling. 3. Institutional asset layering. 4. Sovereign governance. And finally, 5. Infinite leverage. All right, kicking things off with Section 1, the complexity trap, scaling friction and operational resistance. So when a business pushes past that seven-figure mark, the exact systems that got it there actually begin to break down under their own weight. This right here is the hidden barrier preventing elite growth. This failure point happens when entrepreneurs try to scale their operational complexity right alongside their revenue. Think about it. As your client count goes up, what happens? Internal communications start to fracture. Server infrastructures stall. And perhaps most dangerously, operational overhead just absolutely explodes. The human infrastructure simply stalls out under the intense pressure of that growth.
It really comes down to a stark difference in mindsets. The old lower-tier business model keeps operational delivery tightly bound to human effort. If you sign 10 times more clients, you suddenly need 10 times more time, energy, and management. You just end up hiring endless staff and working yourself into the ground. But the elite way? It is all about engineering and architecture designed for infinite capacity with zero friction. It completely flips the script.
Moving on to Section 2, infrastructure decoupling, severing the link between human labor and delivery. This decoupling concept is the first true structural pillar of this 8-figure blueprint. To achieve that infinite capacity we just talked about, your product delivery has to be completely separated from human efforts. The elite pull this off by utilizing proprietary software pipelines, custom-built AI agents, and asynchronous delivery assets. Take a look at exactly how automated code essentially replaces manual labor. When your core asset distribution is driven by software instead of human hands, it entirely severs those traditional constraints of time and energy, which frees up a massive amount of capital. And this crucial concept is perfectly summed up by this number, 10,000. Your business absolutely must be structured so that processing 100 clients or 10,000 clients takes the exact same amount of personal oversight. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. When you decouple your infrastructure like this, your profit margins massively expand as you scale. And that allows you to take that immense influx of capital and reinvest it directly into total market domination.
Which brings us to Section 3, institutional asset layering, evolving from an operator to a sovereign capital allocator. At the 8-figure level, your cash flow is no longer just for funding your personal lifestyle. It literally becomes corporate energy. And this brilliantly illustrates how those profits are automatically routed into hard, compounding, defensive assets. We're looking at decentralized sovereign property, high-yield digital nodes, strategic equity in software platforms, and real estate debt instruments. But here is the real secret of the Dynacraft Blueprint. Statistics show that 90% of high-net-worth family fortunes are completely destroyed by the third generation. So, to prevent this wealth decay, you must separate your beneficiaries from the governance. These assets are not held personally. Instead, your business becomes the primary engine feeding this massive, uncancelable holding entity, like a perpetual family foundation or dynasty trust. By locking your assets inside a trust that is guided by a very strict family constitution, your heirs don't inherit direct, unearned liquid cash. They inherit access to resources, like venture capital for approved businesses or funding for higher education.
This separation is absolutely crucial because it protects the wealth from estate taxes, frivolous spendthrift behavior, and messy internal family litigation.
Let's look at Section 4, Sovereign Governance, decentralizing the enterprise across resilient frameworks.
True sovereignty means that you never rely on a single jurisdiction, one commercial banking system, or one regulatory authority. You are creating your own sovereign family bank. So rather than your heirs borrowing money from commercial banks and paying interest to outsiders, they actually apply for financing directly from the Family Trust's Investment Committee. They secure the loans, build their businesses, and then repay the principal and interest right back into the family's closed-loop treasury. This incredible system relies on diversified operational entities, cold storage reserve funds kept in sovereign vaults, and entirely unhackable intellectual property frameworks.
And the ultimate benefit of this sovereign governance? You are operating completely above localized market crashes, commercial banking failures, and political overreach. Your multi-generational wealth becomes technologically uncancelable. It just continues compounding safely inside your own internal ecosystem for centuries. Finally, we reach Section 5, Infinite Leverage, deploying your architecture for absolute freedom. Let's review the complete unedited blueprint steps you now possess. Step 1. Build the cash flow engine. Step 2. Decouple your infrastructure using AI and software. Step 3. Reallocate capital into an uncancelable holding entity. And Step 4. Establish sovereign governance. This entire structure brings you to absolute economic sovereignty. But remember, even the most bulletproof legal structure will fail if the human capital within the family lacks vision. The final key here is institutionalizing a culture of financial stewardship. Your successors actually have to demonstrate entrepreneurial competency and pass governance training before they ever earn a seat on the trust's investment board. The source material leaves us with this incredibly powerful directive. Step into the matrix of infinite leverage, deploy your architecture, and claim your absolute freedom. You are no longer just passing down passive money. You are engineering an institutional multi-generational dynasty. You now have the frameworks and the tools to stop playing small. So I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought. You now possess the blueprint. Will you stay trapped in a broken financial system, building a fragile fortune that dies with you? Or will you execute the Dynacraft architecture, build your uncancelable 8-figure fortress, and reign over your family's legacy forever? The choice is entirely yours. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll see you next time.